next time the state calls Detective Wilson to the stand.
Detective Wilson.
Wilson?
Yeah. No, over here, sorry. Jeanette,
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, raise your right hand. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You can come around here. Watch your step up.
Good afternoon, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Detective Angel Wilson,
Detective Wilson, what department do you work for?
Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been with Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office?
A little under 21 years.
And what assignment are you currently assigned to today?
The Homicide Bureau.
Back on June 25th, 2022, what was your assignment?
I was assigned to the Special Victims Bureau within the Domestic Violence Unit.
Now, do you know the defendant Daisy Link in this case?
Do I know her? No, I do not.
Did you ever come into an interaction or were you ever present with her when she was at the station on June 25th, 2022?
Yes,
Who was present at the station at that time?
Detective Janoris.
Why were you at the station?
So in homicide, they have like a ride-along type of thing that they allow you to do if you are slated to come over to homicide or if you have interest in becoming a homicide detective, kind of like a shadowing program.
So you were shadowing.
Yes.
Were you shadowing anyone in particular?
So essentially, I was shadowing on a different squad, Sergeant Goldberg's team. However, Sergeant Waite's team at the time had got a fresh case. So I went over to go watch the interrogation.
Okay, and who was at the interrogation? Who did you go watch?
So Detective Cruz and Detective Janoris.
Was the defendant Daisy Link there with them?
Yes.
Now, did there ever come any time where you and the defendant were together at any point?
Yes.
Please explain.
So in one incident, I believe I assisted with putting cuffs on the defendant for the purpose of either the bathroom and or fingerprints. And I also went with Detective Janoris to do to take her to get fingerprinted as well as to use the ladies' room.
So let's talk about when you went to go with her to get fingerprinted. Who was there with you as well as the defendant? Was there anyone else there?
Just the individuals that work in that area.
So who did you go with besides the defendant to go fingerprint?
Oh, I'm
her?
sorry, Detective Janoris.
Okay. Was she there the entire time with you?
Yes.
Okay. When she went to get fingerprinted, did you say anything to her?
No,
Did she say
Not that I
anything to?
recall.
Sorry, go ahead. Did she say anything to you?
no, not that I recall.
All right, let's talk about the incident. You said you also went with them to the bathroom.
Yes,
Was Detective Janoris with you the entire time as well?
yes, she was.
And what happened at the bathroom?
Detective Janoris and I were having a conversation. She was asking me where do I work, and I told her that I worked in the DV unit. And we talked about possibly taking a previous class together because she looked familiar to me, and so I was trying to figure out where I knew her face from.
When you guys were having this conversation, where was the defendant?
In the bathroom stall,
So is this a conversation that she overheard?
possibly since she was in the restroom with us.
What happened when she came out of the bathroom stall?
She asked me or alluded to me being a domestic violence detective, or asking me was I.
Okay. And what did you respond?
I told her that I was.
Okay. Anything else that she asked or you said to her?
She proceeded to talk about being like a victim of domestic violence,
And what did you say to her?
that she needed to talk to them about that she needed to talk to them, meaning the detectives, the homicide detectives.
Did you try to continue that interaction that she was trying to get you to speak to you about?
No,
Did you at any point discuss anything else with her?
no.
Okay. No further questions, Judge.
Hello.
Hello.
So Ms. Link told you she was a victim of domestic violence, and you directed her to speak to somebody else, correct?
Essentially, yes.
Was Detective Janoris in the same room when this happened?
She was within the bathroom.
Okay, is it a big bathroom, a small bathroom?
Depends on what you, it's a public bathroom, so it's like a 3-stall bathroom on the second floor of the office.
Now, you accompanied them for Ms. Link to get her fingerprints taken, correct?
Yes.
Where is the fingerprinting station in relation to the bathroom that you all were in?
Down the hall on the first floor. And so, okay, the bathroom is on the second floor across from the homicide office.
Right.
Her interview was conducted in the robbery office, which is across the hall from homicide, but just a little bit further down. So then we walked her downstairs to the elevator to the first floor so she could get fingerprinted.
So you are, right now, currently, you are a homicide detective.
That's,
Back in June of 2022, you were a domestic violence detective.
that's right.
And in fact, you said that in the bathroom in front of Detective Janoris when Ms. Link talked to you. You said, it was said that you were a homicide, domestic violence detective.
I was
right?
talking to Detective Janoris when I said that. I was
Okay.
answering Detective Janoris's question.
So there's no question, in your mind at least, Detective Janoris knew that you were a domestic violence detective at that moment.
That's correct.
And you accompanied Detective Janoris to have Daisy Link fingerprinted, correct?
Yes,
Did you accompany her on the way back for Daisy Link to sit in the interview room?
yes, I accompanied her back to the robbery office.
Okay. Other than Detective Janoris, was there anybody else there with Daisy Link during that process that we just talked?
The process has been going to get fingerprinted and coming back,
Yes,
going and
ma'am.
coming back.
Yes, ma'am.
Not that I recall, besides the people who work in the fingerprint office.
Is there a department procedure that you all are supposed to follow when you're escorting somebody in custody to get their fingerprints taken?
Procedure. You have anything specific regarding the procedure?
Well, I don't know if you remember, you and I spoke on Monday, right?
Correct.
So what I'm talking about is, as far as when you're taking somebody to get fingerprinted, is there something you're supposed to do? Is it supposed to be 2 people escorting her? Can 1 person escort her? How does that work?
There's usually at least 2. Sometimes there's more, depending on if the person's combative or whatnot. I've seen more than 2 though, but at least 2.
Okay, all right. So you were, even though you were shadowing, you were asked to accompany for that purpose, correct?
Yes, I'm essentially still a police officer / detective.
Now, as a homicide detective, as part of your investigation, it's important to make notes of things and document as much as possible so that you have a full picture and so that the investigation is complete, correct?
Yes,
And part of that is listing all officers who take part in the investigation, correct?
somewhat, correct.
Like, for example, if you're at a crime scene, isn't there a list where all officers are supposed to document, getting to the crime scene, leaving the crime scene, what they did on the crime scene, things of that nature?
I think you're referring to like a crime scene log. Our department doesn't use a crime scene log. The officer who responds initially will document what other officers was dispatched, and it'll be listed in the report, but there's no actual log that we use.
And other than documenting who's involved with what in the investigation, there are many reasons for that, correct?
I would assume so, yes.
Okay. One of the reasons is you want to have a thorough and well-documented investigation, right?
Yes,
And you also have certain obligations that you need to turn over to the state attorney's office, which they in turn need to turn over to defense of the person being charged. So that plays into everything as well, correct?
yes.
Do you know why it was that you were not listed as a person somewhat involved in this case until this past?
Objection, speculation.
I'd like to finish my question, please. Do you know why it is that you were not listed as a person having information on this case until 3 days ago?
No, I wouldn't know.
Oh, you can answer.
No, I wouldn't know why another person didn't do something.
So you would agree that you should have been listed from the beginning, correct?
I've also not listed in some of my reports before. It could have been human error, which you forgot to list it
Human error is inevitable, right?
at some point in time.
But would you agree that the correct thing in this case would have been to list you and list what your role was in this case from the get-go, as it was done with every other office? Yes?
I don't,
You're not sure?
I don't think it's definitive yes or definitive no. I can see where you're coming from, but I know from other investigations that I've been a part of, whether I was the lead or not, that every single person is not listed in a detective's report. It depends on the role that they played in the investigation. If they have no investigative, they didn't do anything substantial in the case, then they're not necessarily listed in my report. They may be listed somewhere else, me as in the detective, it may be listed somewhere else, like the dispatcher may have them in the audit trail that they responded to, something along those lines.
But it would be listed somewhere, right? So would you agree that it was not correct for it not to be listed anywhere and for no notice to be given about your involvement until we are midway through a trial? That's not the right way to do it, correct?
I can't say I agree with you
I
wholeheartedly.
understand. No further questions. Thank you.
See if there's any redirects.
Detective Wilson, were you involved in any way in this investigation
No,
back on June 25th, 2022?
no, I was not.
Did you do anything substantive with this case?
No, I did not.
Were you involved in any collection of evidence?
No.
Were you involved in any speaking to the defendant during interrogations?
No.
What, if anything, were you doing at that interview or in that office that day?
I was shadowing, observing.
Now, we were also asked about homicide detectives and DV detectives. Can you please explain to the jury how is it that DV detectives get involved versus homicide detectives?
So essentially, if you have a case where there's a report of like domestic violence, whether it's a simple battery or an aggravated battery, or even like an attempted murder, but it's related to like a domestic incident, a domestic violence detective would respond. If the person is expected to survive, that would be completely a domestic violence detective. The road officer will call the Special Victims Bureau. We would screen the call and determine if we need to respond or if we will come out later. But as far as homicide being involved in a domestic case, the person would have had to sustain life-threatening injuries where the doctor is deeming that the person is not expected to survive. Then at that point, I would brief the homicide detectives and then they would take over the investigation. If the person did not have, if they were expected to survive their injuries, it would never go to homicide. So essentially only a DV detective would respond, homicide would never respond.
So in this case, because a person didn't survive, would there have been a DV detective?
No, unless they were transported and they were still viable at the time.
Okay. And any other interaction that you had with the defendant besides that you mentioned earlier?
No, not that I recall.
Did you try and shut down the conversation that was being said to you at that time?
Yes.
No further questions, Judge.
You can step down. Any other rebuttal witnesses?
State Hall, Sergeant Currency.
Sergeant Pepper. And you can come around. Right here. It's only been a few days, but might as well. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth? Thank you. Sorry.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Do you mind just reintroducing yourself to the jury, please?
Yes, my name is Sergio Cremisi,
And can you remind them where you work?
the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office Homicide Bureau.
And can you remind me what your involvement in this case is?
I conducted a cellular cell phone examination.
And do you recall whose cell phone you extracted?
It was an individual identified as Daisy Link.
Now, I want to ask you a handful of specific questions. Technology. Is it ever changing or is it pretty stagnant?
It changes, at least in regards to cell phones.
When it comes to cell phone technology and extracting the cell phone technology, can you tell us a little bit about the technology change over time?
In regards to obtaining the information or processing the information?
Both.
So there can be updates into what exactly, like which specific devices are available that we can conduct an examination. And then on the processing side, there is updates that are generally done that can yield additional or new information.
Now, in 2022 versus now, is the technology that is able to extract and read the data on a phone better?
So as it relates to the device in this case, the technology that extracts the information, or pretty much copies it from the device, is the same. However, the processing part of the software has been updated.
Okay, would you say it's better?
It essentially interprets or provides a little bit more data than what it initially does, yes.
Okay, now, I want to focus on a handful of things, but you extracted this phone in 2022, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Did you also do it more recently than that?
I didn't do an additional extraction, but I did do an additional processing of the actual extraction file. Yes.
Sorry to cut you off. Can you just explain to the jury what that means a little bit?
Sure. So if an easy way to think of it is if you were to take the data from a cell phone that's obtained during a forensic extraction, consider that a library. And within a library, you have different sections and different books in all the different sections of the library. What the updates to these softwares do is that if we were to hypothetically think that in 2022, all the books that we were able to read were in English and Spanish, and then as time progresses, the ability to interpret new languages is obtained, which is pretty much how that technology evolves. So it doesn't provide new information that wasn't there to begin with. It just allows for the ability to essentially interpret beyond what it initially did.
And you reinterpreted the data from that extraction?
Yes.
Can you explain to the jury again what hash marks are?
So a hash is essentially, it's like a digital fingerprint that you can conduct on a file. It could be a file, it could be a folder. And pretty much if anything within that file changes, then that value for that hash is going to be different, letting you know that the actual contents are not the same.
Did you verify those hashes from the 2022 reading of that data versus when you did it a few weeks ago?
So the hash of the original extraction is the same. Are you asking in relation to a specific file or?
I will in a minute.
Okay.
But the actual data was the same, is that correct?
Yes, that initial, so to speak, copy of the library, that has a hash value as well, and that is the same and has not changed.
Now, specifically to, and what I'm going to ask you to sit down in a moment, videos on the defendant's phone from June 1st of 2022 up and through the incident date of June 25th, 2022. Were you able to confirm that the same data that was on this phone was the same as 2022 as it was in 2025?
Yes, so I compared the hash values because aside from there being a hash on the overall library, there's also a hash that's assigned to each individual file.
I'm sorry, continue.
So I did a comparison of the hash values that were generated in 2022 and then compared it to the hash values now. And yes, all of those videos are the same.
Okay, if permission for the witness to sit down?
Yes.
You don't mind coming down here. Can you just remind the jury what actually we're looking at here?
So this is going to be one of the softwares, essentially the report that's generated with the data from the model.
Can you do me a favor and just publish to the jury, the created date right there?
June 18, 2022,
Just go forward, and the next date,
June 22nd, 2022,
the next date,
June 24th, 2022.
and again, it's June 24th, 2022.
Yes, thank you. Everyone for the questions.
You can have it. Let's see if there's any crosses.
I don't have any questions.
You can step down. All right, State, do you have any other witnesses?
No, you're not.
Okay, so you're resting on your remote case.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so both sides have rested. Lisette made you coffee anyway and snacks, so we'll just take it back there. Feel free to take us whatever you want home if you want. If you want a little shot of colada, go for it. We're gonna end early for today. So we'll come back tomorrow. We're technically a day early of schedule, so I anticipate in the normal course of a trial, we would conduct closing arguments today and deliberations. Prior to that, I would give you the jury instructions. So I'm gonna work with the lawyers and Ms. Link on those jury instructions. For the most part, they are prepared essentially right before a case ends. That's the best way to be thorough, so that's what I'm gonna do today and tomorrow morning. We'll plan on a 2-hour morning session tomorrow, so from 10:30 to 12:30. I will provide you lunch tomorrow, and if all goes according to the way trials usually go, you all will have lunch and deliberate around the same time. So we'll plan on that, so please have a heavy breakfast, so that if we're together from 10:30 to 12:30, we may not break until 12:30, we may not break until 1. So we'll just plan on a heavy breakfast. We'll get you your lunch orders in the morning, that way we're not ordering for you as you deliberate. Please remember my instructions about not doing any research about this case, not speaking about this case with anyone. I know you've heard a lot of evidence, and I'll remind you what we talked about on day 1 and 2. You should not form any fixed opinions until you have heard the argument of the lawyers, as well as my instructions on the law. You now have all the evidence that the lawyers have put in front of you. There's no other evidence for you to decide. I'm sorry, for you to hear.